Hey everyone, and welcome back to this edition of Last Week in Crochet. Although it's probably like the last 3 weeks in crochet, maybe. So, some of you know that a lot of my crochet time has been spent on making this gorgeous grafgam. And I do have a video up talking about my experience as being a pattern tester. And would I do it again? Probably, depending on the project. So one of you guys commented that I was brave to do this, and working with multiple bobbins like that is challenging, but I think I have devised a system. And once I test it out, I'll share that with you guys. But I think I have devised a system that would make making a grafgam a lot easier. So a lot of people use these little things like this for bobbins. But stupid cat laid on my blanket. There's such large swatches of color that using something like this is going to make you have 10 bazillion ends to work in instead of just a bazillion. So that wasn't an option for me to use that unless I had a very small area that was containing the color, hence this right here, because that is the background green. So this was the major project that I was working on that took up all my desk space and kept me from being able to play with a lot of other things. But that is now complete, other than I noticed like 3 more ends that I need to work in. There were so many that I am not surprised that I missed a couple. So this is a nice blanket. I just wished I would have picked a nicer yarn. Not necessarily in color, but in feel. A better quality of yarn than Super Saver. So that was project 1. And last time that we talked about the happenings in crochet in my life, I showed you guys this great Creepy Creatures and Cryptids book. So, and my first one was, everybody knows, the little griffin. So I played with a couple of others, and I still have a lot of questions. The book's great, the instructions are great, but for me, like, am I putting too much stuffing in it? Are my stitches too loose? Are my stitches too tight? How do you make a smoother transition with like when you're attaching the arms and things? So I did play with a couple more patterns, and I am not unhappy with them per se. I think I could have done a better job. It's just going to take some practice because I am really, really new to doing amigurumi anything. So I did the alien. So one of the things that I think is my problem is his little head should be like more round. And how do you sew the arms and stuff on so that it looks nice and smooth? Like there's a transition. So I'm curious if you were to put the arms on before you attach the head and stitch them to the opening to the body and then sewed the head on, would that make it look nicer? I mean, has any of you guys tried that? I don't know. But okay, so I have the little alien guy, and I will probably redo him. The other one that I did was the Kraken, and I really like how he turned out. This was super easy. It was really fast. I used a bulky weight yarn. Let me go get it. I'm having a thing. I can keep seeing the glare in my glasses and it's bugging me. So I had picked up this yarn, 2 skeins of it, at a thrift store. I paid like $3 for the 2 skeins. And it is a number 5, bulky, and it says use an 8mm hook. So it is Premier Yarns Serenity. So I got 2 skeins for $3 at a thrift store. Now, what I liked about this is it has like little bits of greens and blues and browns in it. And I thought that would make the Kraken look interesting. So he's got some color. He's not solid. In the book, okay, in the book she used like a green, but I mean, it kind of looks like it has some little bluish undertone to it, maybe. Like more on the blue side than the green side. So she used a solid color, but I decided I would use this variegated. And the yarn called for an 8 hook, so I used a 5. And he turned out cute, or she. And I'll tell you, what was nice about this is, with the exception of the bottom, where you plug in the hole there, it is all one piece. So you didn't have anything to, no arms to sew on, no legs to sew on, or anything like that. So I felt like it came out a whole lot smoother. And the little tentacles is like single crochet and half double crochet, and it just naturally curls up on its own. And what I thought was really interesting about this very, very simple one to do was how the head shape came out. So when you look at the picture in the book, it doesn't show that, but I thought that makes it, you know, more realistic looking. But I think my Kraken turned out very nice. Now, I would make him again, not because I think I need to redo him, but because there's so many yarns that would really make this look interesting, especially if you were doing the entire sea creature collection out of the book. So I did that. And I think I told you guys that the next one I wanted to do was the Cyclops. So I started to do him. And this is how far I got. And I wasn't happy with how the head was shaped. I'm like, if you look at the picture in the book, so if you look at the picture in the book, his head is round and he's got a giant eye. Now, I ordered the size eyes that it said to get, which was 15mm. And that's what's on there. I mean, like, on here, it looks okay. You just take some felt and you cut like an eye shape. But I just couldn't get over the shape of his head and how I couldn't make it look round. So is that a stitch issue or is that a stuffing issue? I'm asking because I really, really don't know. And if you know, I would super appreciate it if you'd leave me a comment down below, like instructions, or send me over to somebody that's like really, really good at this and really, really good at explaining how to do this. I would so appreciate that. And I'll watch their whole video. I'll even let their ads run. Just saying. So I did that and I stopped part of the way on the body. Now this is interesting how this is done, because you do one leg, then you do the other leg and attach the two and work up. So there is a nice smooth transition. You don't have, or you've taken this chunk and attached it to another chunk. So I like how that's done. It's a little awkward when you first go to connect, but I do like how that is done. So I started over and I finished him last night. I had most of the pieces done. So I think that my head came out much rounder. Still not quite there, but much rounder. And what I did is I used the same size hook, but I didn't have a death grip on the hook. And you can see the difference in the sizes of the head. So the same size hook, the exact same yarn. Whoops, it's rolling away. So same size hook, exact same yarn. And I got him finished last night. Now I do think because the head turned out a little bit bigger, that this eye needs to be a lot bigger. I'm just imagining a Cyclops in the movie and they've got this big giant eye. And I think his eye needs to be way bigger because the head turned out a little bit bigger. The ears were super easy to do and attach. I think they're straight. His little mouth, I'm not the best with my embroidery techniques, but I think it turned out halfway decent. His little club. Now it did say to lightly stuff the arms. I didn't stuff the arms at all. But this is what I don't necessarily care for how it just kind of looks like it's a lump attached. And maybe that's where doing the patterns where you can put clothes on them and then you can't see that kind of thing. Or, again, I'm asking, is there, how do you sew them on so that it looks more like a smooth transition? But his little kilt is attached. It's sewn onto the body. That was interesting. So you make the body. And, you know, of course, we started with the legs and then connected the two legs together and worked our way up. We changed colors. You know, it makes it look like he has little undies on. So we change colors. And then once you've completed making the body part before you stuff it, you get out a much smaller hook. Now it said to use 2 3/4, but I used a 3. It's not that much of a difference, 1/4 millimeter. And you go through and you go around and do a row of single crochet, and then you work off of that, and it makes it have the little skirt. Other than his eye being a little too small, I think, my opinion, I think he turned out pretty good. I was much happier with his head shape. I like how the legs were done. I wonder if the arms could be done like that too. It's an idea. The little club, that was fun. Especially when I got to the little skinny part here and having to, yeah, that was fun. So, yeah, Cyclops. So now I have the Cyclops, the Griffin, whose head should be round. So I will probably remake this, lose my death grip on the hook, and see what happens with that. Because I do like the Griffin. So I have the Griffin, the Cyclops, she calls them the grays, but the alien, which I want to redo the alien, and maybe a brighter green. You know, this was a Premier Basic sage green that I had, you know, in the scrap bin, but maybe a little bit brighter green. I don't know, maybe I'll do the gray like she does in the book, but she does show them green. And the Kraken, this one's my favorite so far. Maybe because it was the easiest, maybe. But anyhow, so if you guys are interested, I will link this book down below in the description. And then, oh, let me tell you, I had to get so many different things to do this Grafghan, this pattern test. You know, I ordered the yarn and, you know, I already have my hooks and stuff like that. But then when I'm getting to, you know, it's really heavy, it's bulky, and it's hard to turn, and I can't just let it drape into my lap from the table because it's pulling itself off the table. It's so heavy. So I had to roll it up and work with it on there because of all the bobbins. So if ever there was a project of mine that needed to be blocked, that was it. Well, I didn't have blocking mats. Not enough to do a project that size. So I had to order some blocking mats, and then doing a little research. Steaming it seems to be the preferred way to do blocking like that. You know, it dries faster, and it just dries faster. Like, I wouldn't even have a floor to walk in here if I was still waiting for that thing to dry. So I bought a little hand garment steamer, and I bought some more of the mats that look like the little puzzle pieces. But when I was looking for all that stuff, I found this other, you guys, I'm going to get hooked on this amigurumi, and I don't know. I don't know, but I found this other pattern. It is a pattern book. It is Spring Gnomes. Now, I haven't had the opportunity to make any of them yet, and this thing was just released like February 12th or 13th, something like that. It's a new release on the book, but it is so stinking cute. The pictures in it are fabulous. Like, look at this bunny gnome. But when I say the pictures are fabulous, like, there are step-by-step pictures. Even in the front. See, there I go, starting at the back of the book again. Even in the front of the book, like, here's how to make a leaf with step-by-step pictures. I mean, how nice is that? Okay, so you can read a pattern and then you're like, is this what it's supposed to look like? But when they give you pictures like that, it's great. And then the little flowers. Because if you, this one that I really like is the dandelion gnome. But look at this one. They take and decorate the gnome's hat with the flowers and stuff because it's springtime. It's great. Let me find the daffodil one. He is, or she, whichever, is so cute looking. Here it is. Isn't that just great? This is the one I'm going to try and make. And probably the bunny gnome. So, and I have confidence because, now I think mine will turn out much bigger because I'm not going to use a little teeny tiny yarn and a little teeny tiny needle or hook. Needle. But I have confidence because it does give the detailed pictures on what it should look like when you work on it. But I'll link this down below for you guys too, in case anybody is curious about the book. So as I was sitting outside, I realized I forgot to mention this other fabulous pattern book for amigurumi that I saw on Amazon, and it doesn't come out until next month, I believe, but you can pre-order it. I mean, look at the detail on these dragons. Oh my gosh. It looks like for advanced crocheters that do amigurumi, but I'm getting this book. And once I build up my confidence in making these things, I am going to make that dragon on the cover. It just looks amazing. Just amazing. So that's pretty much it. That has been my life for, oh, let's not forget the temperature blanket. I'm doing that too. But that has been pretty much my life in crochet for the last almost 3 weeks. This was huge. Took up a lot of time. These are fun and frustrating and fun. So I like these. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with these because I pride myself on being able to figure out things on my own. And I'm asking you guys for help. I don't usually do that. What do you do? So we will do another last week in crochet video in a week or two, maybe. I do have to keep up on my Etsy orders and my temperature blanket, and I want to do some small projects so that I feel like I'm getting something accomplished. I have my mosaic blanket that I was working on that I can get back to now that this one is out of the way. I mean, I felt really obligated to get this done because I volunteered to do that. But so I have my mosaic that I showed you guys a few weeks ago that I can finish working on. And I have the Tote Cardi that I would like to finish. But I'm scared to look because I just got an email that said there was a pattern update. And I'm like, oh, I hope it isn't on part that I already did. And then I have to redo it. That would not be fun. Not at all. But anyhow, we will come back again in a couple of weeks to talk about our week in crochet. So if you click on this link right here, it's going to take you to where YouTube and I feel like would be the next great video for you. And thank you so much for watching.